think of a lot of things. The first thing I think is that we actually do have an ideological frame. Myself and Alicia in particular are trained organizers. We are trained Marxists.
Patrisse Khan-Cullors is the co-founder of Black Lives Matter and describes herself as a trained Marxist. For those of you who don't know, Marxism is a social, political, and economic philosophy named after Karl Marx, and its ultimate goal is to overturn capitalism in favor of communism. Khan-Cullors embraced activism and Marxism at a young age. It started the year I turned 12. That was the year that I learned that being black and poor defined me more than being bright and hopeful and ready. So, if she is oh so oppressed and poor and hates capitalism, then what is she doing buying all these mansions, especially in predominantly white neighborhoods? Recently, she bought a property in ritzy, secluded Topanga Canyon, then a custom ranch in Georgia, and a luxury beach house in the Bahamas. So please, tell me again, Patrisse, how you're such a poor, oppressed victim.
Candace, thanks so much for coming on. Maybe I'm being too soft, but anybody who can talk America's woke corporate structure into sending close to $100 million on the basis of that lame rap kind of gets my respect in a way.
She has my respect because she's unapologetic in her approach. She's telling you what she is. She's a Marxist. So Marxists steal money from other people and they enrich themselves until the people that they stole from are poor. And so she has stolen money from other people on the pretext of a lie that is Black Lives Matter. And she's enriched herself and she's brought 4 homes. I mean, you have to kind of appreciate the honesty. She's not hiding by any means, And so, yeah, I tend to agree with you here. She's a communist through and through, and she's been unbelievably unapologetic in her approach.
Al Sharpton must be looking at this and saying, I've done this for 40 years. Where did I go wrong? I don't have a house in Topanga Canyon.
Right, exactly right.
This up.
It's completely ridiculous. And, you're right. The corporations are standing behind her, which is incredibly interesting. And you pointed to something really important. These corporations that are pouring millions and millions of dollars into Black Lives Matter. And you're correct. They said we raised more than $90 million. How much more, we will never know. But $90 million, of which $21 million apparently went to, according to Black Lives Matter themselves, it went to building the black movement. I don't even know what that means. $25 million going to building a black movement. Apparently, the black movement was Patrisse moving herself, a black woman moving herself into other areas of the communities of people that she claims are oppressing black Americans. She's fearful of white people. White people are so bad. Well, why doesn't she want to live amongst black people? Why is she choosing to move herself into an all-white neighborhood? These are important questions.
The math, this is about $2.5 million worth of property, right? So this is what happens. This is what they do. This is what I call the race hustle. This is what race hustling is. Race hustling is finding black people to capitalize on the pain of black people, below, right? Black people that are on the streets. And they will tell them lies and propaganda about how white people hate them, about how they can't do anything because of white supremacy, because of all of this other stuff. But then they amass millions and millions of dollars. And they still, I bet this woman still walks around pretending like she's oppressed. She has $2.5 million in property, and she still gives 5-figure speeches talking about how oppressed she is, talking about how it's so hard for her to survive in the white supremacist system, okay? We found you out. We know what the game is, and it is right here. Right when we look at your real estate portfolio, we see exactly what the aim of Black Lives Matter, Inc. is.
Now we have the response from Black Lives Matter to one of their founders being outed as a serial house purchaser. It says, the official Black Lives Matter account says the reporting about one of its co-founders having 4 homes in the US worth millions is fueled by a tradition of terror by white supremacists. So here's the tweet from BLM. Patrisse Khan-Cullors is the executive director of Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation. She serves in this role in a volunteer capacity and does not receive a salary or benefits. Why don't you open up the books so people can assess where all this money is going?
This is exactly the gaslighting garbage I've been trying to warn people about all last summer. If what happened on the Capitol Hill is called a riot, then it's time we stop calling these destructive and violent BLM riots peaceful protests. This is exactly what you would call the pot calling the kettle black, which is used by a person who is guilty of the very thing of which they accuse another, and thus is an example of psychological projection or hypocrisy. The second you begin to question their methods or where all this money is going, you are a white supremacist. But again, do not be fooled by this gaslighting. This is not some right-wing QAnon conspiracy theory. These are very real concerns and legitimate questions. Newsom of New York City's BLM said, "We need black firms and black accountants to go in there and find out where the money is going. Are the actions of an organization really something I want to support? Should I really be giving my hard-earned money to someone who doesn't appear to do anything for the black community? Should I be praising someone who takes our hard-earned money to buy luxury mansions?" I think that answer is a strong no.